Right now, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. There's a number of gliders way down low, kind of groveling around, but no matter how high you are, there's always people higher than you. You can see straight ahead and off to the left just a little bit, just coming out of the frame. There's gliders circling even higher than I am, and they're further down the course line. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at. There's always seems to be somebody higher than you and doing better. But that certainly gives me confidence that there's more lift out there, and so I'm going to keep working my way back towards the Spina. And for the first time in a long time, we've got other gliders that have come to this turn point. I think they probably came down Three Kings rather than the route we took, but they're with us, and so now we can start working with them. There's a Purple Ice Peak and another glider in the area, so we'll start working with them a little bit and see if they can help. We can team up and make the finish of this race a team game. Well, apparently I felt that we were at the top of the lift because I've headed out on a lifty line. Sometimes that's not a bad plan too. Heading straight for Espina on a lifty line is not a bad deal. So as it turns out, that ice peak was following me after all, and now I've taken a turn in this lift, and actually I think that's Nicole. She makes the turn in it as well, so we'll stick together for at least a couple of turns here. It is nice to have a friend on the course line. A little note about the equipment. I'm flying a Monarca M4. This is about a year and a half old, and flying with Nuviak 8. I call them ape hangers. They're Nuviak ergos, and they're very, very comfortable. Easy to do long distance flying with them. And my harness is an Impress 2 Plus. Looks like Nicole's heading out. She's decided that's enough, and we'll chase her on down. So this is a tactical, little strategic decision, I guess it would be. Well, no, tactical decision, where we were going to. Other gliders were climbing there at the tip of Spina. Nicole pushed on out in front and was like going to make a beeline right for the front wall, and then she turned around and came back. But that put it in mind. But I thought, that's probably the right call. Let's get over to that sunny wall right there and just get going. Because the day was clouding in, and it was we were running low, and so it was starting to get to the point where let's push on forward and see if we can make some distance, because the El Peñon complex down in here was going to provide plenty of lift. There's lots of clouds and everything in there, so let's see if we can make it work. And so I decided to just push on through and not really pick up that extra lift, and we'll see how it works out. So remembering that that's the corner of the crazy thermal area and the front plateau and El Peñon. So I'm going to just hook right around the corner. remember from the beginning of the flight how turbulent and everything it is in there, and I'm hoping to find some lift right out in front of this thing, but it will turn out that there's not much lift, and we just continue to sink, and looking a little desperate, but I should be able to push back into that wall and get lift is my hope. So I'm hoping to get lift as I push back into this. It should work. There's every indication that it should. It got strong winds kind of coming from my left rear quarter here. And as I come into it, come on, baby, come on, right about now. Come on, there it is, there it is, there it is, there, come on, baby. All right, now we've got some lift. And we'll take this around, 2-3 times. It's at just about this point in time that I think I made 2 or 3 more turns on this, and then my video will switch. The camera that I'm using is a GoPro 2, and it has a spare battery pack that takes it to about 3 hours, and well, in this case 3 hours and 30 minutes, and it works real well for that. But you know, we're at 3 hours and 30 minutes into this flight, and finally the battery conks out and it makes a beeping noise, and I go, okay, time to switch to the next camera. That's with 2 batteries, a extended battery pack on that GoPro 2, and then I go to the video off of my helmet cam. So I just switched over to that, and you can see I'm a little bit higher. I've gone a couple of turns here, and I'm just about ready to dive over the back. As I make the move over the back, I'm also feeling pretty good. You'll notice that the gliders that were behind, that stayed behind for the extra lift on Espina, they didn't get as much sunlight coming over on that line that I made into this hill, and they're way down below me. I think that they make it up and out, but I'm not sure. Just notice them on the bottom left-hand corner. They're there. Well, maybe not. Probably shouldn't be going this way right now, but get every bit of lift I can. Basically 2 lift spots, and this is one of them right here. I'm picking up every little bit I can there, and then I'll go back to where I picked up the lift before, and it kind of looks like those other gliders got as much lift as they could, and then they buzzed out as well. Yeah, they just continued to take that lift straight in front. See how well that's working for them? Right off the spine at crazy. So I should have stayed over there as I thought. So as I come into this, I'm just going to ride it right up and over the back here just a little bit, and then spin it up. I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3 turns, get as much lift, kind of like those other 2 gliders are doing. And then we're going to be looking back on the primary wall that is just beyond El Peñon, and back on that wall you'll notice that the whole area here, the collector area for the wall, is all sunny. And so it's going to be productive. There's no question. Take a quick peek at my partners over there, see how they're doing, and I'm going to take one more turn anyway. And then there's going to be no problem diving back down in below because the primary wall has got to work. There's just no way it can't. There's so much pressure with this wind coming down the primary valley complex, and it kind of takes a left turn in towards the main wall, which is right behind me right now, and then blasts up. And if you got sunlight on that, there's guaranteed lift. So we'll watch how that goes. Just up on the top left there, you saw the other two gliders. They punched out already. They got a little bit better lift right at the corner, but no, I'm not. I'm going to go for the sun and push back into the wall. They're basically lines there on the left-hand side. You can see pushing back. Anyway, I'm heading now into sunny terrain and lifty terrain. That whole terrain is known to work, but we've got strong winds. Dead downwind right now, and those winds are, I don't know what they are, 10, 15 at least. And my concern is that, well, I know there's going to be lift back against the wall. I know this is going to be a lifty place. Is how ratty and challenging is it going to be to fly this right up against the wall with the winds coming in strong and good strong late afternoon lift. It's guaranteed to go up. It's the question as to how much rock and roll is going to come along with that. And I'm below the wall, which is not real great in terms of, well, it's just going to be interesting flying. So as I head back here, my spider senses and nerves are definitely on edge. And picking my spot on the wall so I can get lift where I can find it, and try not to get too much rock and roll and keep my wing together. So we'll hang on here. And it's almost like landing an airplane. I'm coming in, setting up exactly where I want to hit this thing, just a little bit to the right of that green patch, and I know that valley and how it lets loose the thermals, and starting to feel it here. I'm going to get just a little bit of the corner of it. Yep. It's getting better, and there it is, and I'll rock back. What I normally do when I'm in an area of a thermal that is maybe a little more than I want to handle, I'll just take a little bite out of it, and then I can drop back out of it here, be in zero lift, and then come back around and take a bigger bite out of it. And as I do that, you'll see how the wing reacts. I'm going to get a nice strong lift as I enter right into the core of it. There's the reaction of the wing, and pull, and the ground just drops away. Vario screams, and I'm going to drop right back out of it a little bit there, and so it's probably back off to my left, pushed out a little bit, and yep, rock and roll on the wing, and then here I come right back into it's already leaning back over to the east in the west wind here, and got more strong lift here, and bring it around and rock and roll. Pretty violent and active air. As I come around on it this time, I'm going to enter into some of the strongest lift and listen to that Vario scream right there. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. And that's more than I'm interested in playing with in terms of making turns, circles. You got to hit the circles just right. So I end up pushing away from it a little bit here, and then I'm going to come back and surf the leading edge of it. I'm still in the climb here. I'm going to work with climb that I can handle, and I'll turn back around and just sort of come along the leading edge of this and not let myself get pushed back over the rim and over the trees. I'm just going to kind of play with the front edge. There's plenty of lift. There's no reason to get in there and turn circles in that, because if you drop out the back end of that thing, it's not going to be pleasant. At this point, obviously, I've left the wall and I'm pushing for El Peñon. I figure I'll find some lift out in front of El Peñon or over El Peñon, and then punch back to the launch area. It depends on how high I get, and then continue on down. The next turn point is a line, I don't know, 10, 15K short of the butterflies, um, but we're getting close to the end of the race at this point for me. And sure enough, there is the lift sitting right out in front. Same place it was earlier in the day, just a little bit rattier and probably won't get nearly as high. But we'll take it up and see what we can get out of it and then punch back and continue on. This wind, and sitting here at the top of El Peñon, you can really get a sense as to how hard it is to stay in a little thermal that's pushing back, even if it's a nice strong one coming off of the primary lift point and all of Valle. It's you can just see I'm just getting blown back, and I punch forward into it, and it's weak, and then I just get a little bit of lift and try to stay in it. Just trying to track that thing's just about impossible. And it's what we call frisbee, when you just end up going downwind because the lift, you just can't stay in the lift because the winds are blowing the thermals apart. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to end up making a run for launch, and then see if I can get up at launch and punch over the back. I turned to the left here. It's two reasons. One, I can see a glider heading off to the left, and I'm tracking them to see if that's going to work for them, and that might be that Nuvia from before. But also, there's a little bit of sun over there. There's no sun off to the right, and not that the sun's really going to make much difference at this point because the winds are so strong. It turns out probably it was a mistake to push back over here. I probably should have just continued straight on down the course line, but you'll see how it works out. Boy, is it dark and black over there. Just no lift. But I got a little bit of ridge here, a little bit of ridge left, just touchy, touchy. I'll work it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the next 8 to 10, 15 minutes. can see my purple Nuvia friend is a little black dot just on the left-hand corner in the white clouds. Just that little black dot right there going behind the rear riser. And I'm screwed. This is not good. I'm pushing full bar or probably half bar, I guess, and I'm dropping, and I don't know if I'm going to get out of this one. But, well, maybe it'll work. Maybe I can get around the corner. Maybe I won't get stuck in the trees. Not a good place to be. As I continue to work the ridge back and forth, I'm thinking, okay, if I can just bail over the back, get a little bit of a lifter, and I've got a little bit of lift here, I'll continue to work it, and actually I'm going to end up shutting down my video here in about a minute and a half. I don't know why I shut it down, but off to your left there, you can see some fields off in the distance, and essentially what happened right there. See those fields? What I decided to do was, after I popped up here, I think I got 3 or 4 nice turns and a good climb. This might even be the beginning of it here. I turned off my video, and I really don't know why I turned that off, but I continued on down and landed in the fields that are to the just out beyond La Peñitas, the small rocks, and it was a harrowing downwind over the back ripper just to head on down real fast, and it was a little bit turbulent, but it wasn't too bad, and I stayed above most of the rotor that was coming up off this ridge that we're going over the back of here. Anyway, it's an amazing flight. If you've made it this far, I am impressed. Happy to talk about it with anybody if you want to bring it up. Right there, there's the Peñitas, they're in the bright sun on the left, and I bail over the back. So if you want to talk about it, feel free to give me a call. I'm Eastern Washington paragliding preacher, and I can be reached at 509-949-4377. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you learned something. I certainly found it to be one of my more educational flights. And if you're heading to Valle, I look forward to going down there and flying this again. Take care. Preacher out.